Hey guys, JV here sharing my thoughts on the Destiny 2 beta. This time around, Bungie offered 3 different things we could do in the beta. Homecoming, the first story mission of the game, then we had the Inverted Spire, which is a cooperative strike like we know from the past, and then 2 multiplayer modes in the Crucible called Countdown and Control. For players new and old, this was an opportunity to get a taste of the newest Destiny experience. But did it live up to everything that Destiny 2 promises to be? A lot of the reaction that I saw for the Destiny 2 beta is that it's too short and nothing was different. It was the same as the first game. And I already touched on this last week if you've been following my channel, explaining that sometimes people have too high expectations for betas, that normally betas should not be something you spend hours upon hours on, when actually there was a lot more behind that, and specifically with how big Destiny 1's beta was and the amount of time you could put into it. And I tell you guys all the time, I'm really focused on the future and the present, so I forget about the past. I do that all the time, but the Destiny 1 beta was massive and I spent a lot of time in it. As a frame of reference, let's look back and break down everything we could do in the original Destiny beta back in 2014. We had 4 story missions to do. All of them were on Earth. Every single Earth story mission actually you could do. I don't know if there were some in the end of the game, but talking about the first part of the game, you could do every story mission on one of the planets, and there were only 4 planets. And that was a sizable chunk of the entire story as we figured out when the game actually came out. Then we have the Earth Patrol, which is the endless exploration. You could go around on your Sparrow and explore every single corner of what was going to be in the full game. Now, some things might have not been there, like chests, for example. I don't remember, but there was a lot to go through and explore on the Earth Patrol. That entire thing was in the beta alone. Next, we had the Earth Strike, the Devil's Lair, which some people didn't like that much, but it was actually one of my favorite strikes in the original Destiny, and that was there. So, you know, that's the same as what we have in the Destiny 2 beta, 1 strike. Additionally, we had the Tower Social Space. So there was that huge area where you could go around and talk to different NPCs, look at vendors, see what they were about. Again, there wasn't a ton to do, but that was another place to just hang out indefinitely. And then of course we had Crucible as well. So that was endless multiplayer. You could play as much as possible. Again, I don't remember how many modes there were, but that's the same thing that we have in Destiny 2. And then 2 final critical things that I also think make a difference is the ability to level from 1 to 8. I believe it was level 1 to level 8 or 9, something like that, but that was pretty much half of the leveling in the story. I believe the first cap was 20 or 30. I can't remember exactly, but we had that ability to see that progression. In Destiny 2, we don't. It's just, you know, level 20 because of the circumstances of the game. And then we also had a loot table in Destiny's beta, which was larger than Destiny 2's beta. There was a progression there that you could actually feel through loot and armor and other things like that, which is much more smaller and confined in Destiny 2's beta. That's everything that we got in the original Destiny beta. So let's recap what's in the Destiny 2 beta, because it's really simple. It's really easy. There's 1 story mission, there's 1 strike, and then there's multiplayer, which has 2 different modes in it. And that's it. There's no social space, no patrol, nothing to spend endless amounts of time in. Now, the farm social space was open, but for 1 hour, 1 single hour. I think some other people were able to glitch it, but I just missed that completely, and that kind of made me angry. But yeah, it's not like the social space has been open for a week. So when you compare those 2 things, just line items side by side, of course people are reacting in the way they are in terms of expectations. But then again, Destiny killed it. Sold a lot of copies, super successful for Bungie and Activision. So why change this time around? You know, why change a good thing? Having the perspective of playing both betas now, I was sincerely disappointed after the first one, spending all that time. So I really do believe that Destiny 2's beta got it right in terms of length, but overall, for a lot of people, I think it's just that expectation problem. And it's kind of puzzling because it's not like Destiny 2 doesn't have new cool stuff to do to show off. And we know that, case in point, from the IGN video that just dropped a day or so ago, showing off the Nessus Patrol. That's the same planet / moon that the Inverted Spire strike takes place on. It looks incredible. There is so much cool stuff to do in Patrol. They really revamped that mode. There's like treasure maps, secret hidden caves, other activities that you can spend legitimate amount of time on and get some good rewards from. Perhaps it would have been wise for Bungie to show off a little bit more of new stuff to do versus look at these new ways to do the same stuff that we've always done. For the rest of this video, I'm going to share my overall review of the beta, and I know there's like only 2 hours of content if you stretch it maybe a little bit longer, but this is what I thought about what we got to play. Starting with what I liked, and there's a lot of things to like from my perspective, the story is much more defined. We know exactly what's going on this time around, and maybe that's that's because we had Destiny, the original game, to set it up, but we know all about Destiny's story, how it had development troubles, and on and on. But Destiny 2 has it down. We know exactly what's happening. The Cabal attacked, we've lost the tower, we've lost our light, which means we've lost our ghost. The Traveler is in trouble. There's stuff going on with these, very important characters in the story like Cade, Zavala, Ikora Rey, Amanda Holiday. We know all about this, and the story is really about rebuilding what we've lost at the very beginning of the game. So we got it. We know where the story is headed. Compare that to the original Destiny. I couldn't even tell you what was going on at the very beginning of that game. We just suddenly woke up because there was a ghost. Peter Dinklage found us, but he's a little robot, right? We go to the tower, we talk to some blue people. That's basically it. I'm sure there was more explained, I just can't remember, but it seems like this time around we've got a general better direction to go in. We also have a super evil villain in Gaul, or Gary, whatever his name is. And I sincerely hope we get to fight him in the final mission of the story instead of the Black Heart. Whatever happened at the end of Destiny, that was super lame. Homecoming, the first mission of the entire game, really sets up the story in an exciting, explosive, and quite frankly, excellent way. I thought they pulled it off very well. It runs about 30 to 40 minutes, which is longer than most Destiny missions, I believe, story missions from the original game. There's massive scale. I mean, you cover a lot of ground in this first mission. Of course, you're running all over the tower, and then the Cabal attack, and eventually you have to go onto the Cabal ship, and then they intersplice, loading screens with CGI cutscenes, which actually look great, and thank goodness they are skippable. I am so happy about that. Overall, the story looks like it's heading in the right direction compared to the first game. My favorite part about the beta was the strike, the inverted spire on Nessus. I was blown away by the sheer scale, how far we travel, the progression from overground to underground, the huge set pieces like the drill, that massive sequence where you have to kind of traverse this huge hole in the ground that the Cabal are drilling. It connects directly to the story. It feels relevant. And then they cap it off with that awesome 3-stage boss fight where there's 3 different elements, 3 different stages where you fall down to the ground. I thought this was great stuff. Probably one of the best strikes I've played across all of Destiny, which is saying a lot. There's some good strikes in the original game. If this is what strikes are going to be like in Destiny 2, I am very excited to play more of them. Moving on, I found a lot of the new subclasses to be pretty fun to play around with. The Titan Sentinel is awesome with that shield, and also you could use the bubble as well. So it's kind of like a multi-use subclass there. Awesome idea to do that. Then the Hunter Arcstrider class was super quick, flailing around that spear is awesome. And then the Warlock Dawnblade. I'm pretty sure that subclass convinced me that I'm going to be a Warlock main. The class specific abilities are great too. The Titan gets that little mini shield that he can put up, but you don't have to be the defender, the Void Sentinel class if you don't want to. Then the Hunter gets the dodge roll, and the Warlock gets either healing or weapon damage buff. This is so exciting for me because it moves the game more towards this class-based system that I wanted the original Destiny to have. I really like that structure in my RPG-like games. The Titan is the tank, the Warlock is the support, whether you're healing or you're helping people damage more, and then the Hunter just dodges, and so the Hunter is the classic damage dealer, doesn't really help in any other way, but the thing is, all of the classes still do damage, they're still relevant in the overall meta game. I'm digging the new weapon system as well, and how they separate weapons into the new categories. There's like heavy power weapons and then primary weapons. It definitely does need a few tweaks. The community has been vocal about that, and I think after tweaking a little bit, it'll be exactly where it needs to be. For example, the sniper feels a little bit weak, and that's because it feels exactly how it does in the first game, but in the first game, you could put your sniper as your power weapon, your elemental weapon. Now let's talk about what I did not like, and again, this is going to be a shorter list, because for the most part, I enjoyed the beta. Right now, the cooldowns are making the game feel really sluggish in the PvE modes. I'm talking about story missions and strikes. My health and shields would take far too long to replenish, and it was frustrating. It left me dead when I felt like, oh, this is probably avoidable. The super abilities take absolutely way too long to charge, and for some reason, over the course of a strike, I only had it once or twice, and especially if your super ability is going to be time-based. Like, you have 15 seconds to absolutely destroy everything, where sometimes the groups of enemies are not big enough, right? So you'll pop it at the wrong time, so that leads to me holding it for a longer amount of time. The grenade also takes way too long to charge. It was also something where I used maybe 4 times over the course of a strike, 4 or 5 times instead of a lot more than that. The big theory among the Bungie Destiny community is that they balance the game like this in order to discourage super and grenade spam in multiplayer to make it feel more tactical, and I think they definitely accomplish that specific goal. It sucks the fun out of just destroying your enemies in every other mode or having a meaningful kind of progression in difficulty. So really, I think it takes away the power fantasy, especially for me. If possible, they just need to balance this stuff away from Crucible. They need to have a separate PvP and PvE balance. Overall, I'm looking forward to the full game. I already pre-ordered it, so you know, my fate is set in stone. I was probably going to play it anyways, if I'm being honest, but I'm really looking forward to September, whenever it comes out. That's it for me. So turning it over to you guys, did the Destiny 2 beta live up to your hype and your expectations? Was it what you expected it to be, or did you think it would be more like the Destiny 1 beta? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and also on Twitter and Facebook for a chance to be featured on my next video. If you stayed till the end and enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe for more content. Check out my latest videos by clicking the links on screen. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook so you don't miss another video. Sign up with Juniper to receive exclusive discounts on shirts, hoodies, and more at the JV merch store. Click the link for more details. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.